Alright, today we're going to be looking at the hamstrings and the IT band musculature. It's on the outside edge of the leg. So the IT bands connect on just outside of the tibial tuberosity here on the lower part of the upper leg, and it goes across the outside of the thigh musculature and then connects right up into the glute musculature and up into what's called the tensor fascia lata here on the front edge of your pelvis and your thigh. So we're going to work on getting some separation between that IT band and the hamstring musculature that's down below and the quad musculature that's up on the top, particularly the vastus lateralis, which actually runs not only above the IT band but actually up underneath of the IT band too. And we got two different tools that we're going to use for that today. We can use the Supernova or we can use a softball. I'm going to stick with the Supernova today because it's a little bit bigger. It's got some grooves in it. It's going to help give it a little bit more of a shearing effect on the connective tissue. It's going to work a little bit better than a softball. Plus, a lot of times the threads here in the softball can get pretty deep and grooved into the skin musculature, and it doesn't really hurt. Doesn't really feel that great. So Supernova is going to be our friend. We're going to start off peeling off just right on top of that IT band, working it up and down lengthwise on the thigh. And then we're going to work right up underneath of it to the back edge where the hamstrings start to meet into it. And then we're going to work it up onto the front edge above here as well, right where the thigh muscular meets into it. So we're going to start off on the floor on the side. And we're going to start right up by the pelvis, just below the hip. And we're going to try to put as much weight on that ball as we can. And just working it up and down longitudinally with the leg musculature. And just taking it bit by bit, 4 to 6 inch swath at a time. If you find a spot that's really restricted, I can feel it right there. It's nice and tight. You're going to put a little bit of movement on that leg, just kind of pin it down, do a little tack and stretch on it. And then work it to another spot. And just working it right over top of that IT band. And you can work it down a little bit further after you spend a minute or two in that spot. And just keep working it bit by bit, all the way down the leg, right above the knee. After we've done the IT band itself, then we're going to focus on going right back behind it, again using your Supernova or softball, and we're going to come up a little bit more vertical this time, and we're going to try to keep our feet going more or less at a 45-degree angle, so we're hitting on that back edge. We're trying to get that Supernova or that softball to kind of pin up right up underneath of that IT band and hamstring musculature. And you can take a little bit bigger swath of tissue when you're working it now. And you're going to start to feel it more back on those hamstrings. You should still be feeling quite a bit of tension and strain up on the IT band itself. For a lot of people, this is not pleasant. And don't be surprised if it really makes you get some gristle face going. And after you spend another 1 or 2 minutes on that back edge, particularly down here on the lower part of that hamstring, then we're going to work it up to the upper part, coming up on over the top side. And now I'm going to go more of a face down position. And again, I'm going to start up by the pelvis area, right up on that tensor fascia lata, what we call the TFL. It's on the outside edge of the pelvis, right up where that thigh starts to meet up into the hip. And we're going to work it up in there, staying more on that 45-degree downward angle. And then just gradually work it down the outside edge of your thigh, taking it just 6 to 8 inches at a time. Again, if you find a spot that's really restricted, like up on that TFL, you can bend your leg, floss it out a little bit. You can tense and relax, Just try to get that Supernova or that softball to dig in there as deep as you can. And again, roll it all the way down, work it slowly down to the spot that's right above the knee up here on the outside. After you've done one side, it should take you a solid 2 to 3 minutes to work that whole IT band area. Go ahead and flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Spend another 1 to 2 to 3 minutes. And after 4 or 5 minutes, you should be done with each side of those IT bands. But spend the time on them because those lateral chains can get really gunked up. And you want to make sure you're doing your best to keep them soft and as supple as possible.